Hey, my loves. Welcome to Power Conversations and Connections with Susan, where we talk life, the beauty and vulnerability on the journey to self-love and evolving into our best selves. Thank you for joining the conversation. So, the beautiful people was everybody that wasn't me. And when I went to Dillard, let me tell you, if you've never been, you walk into Dillard University. Now, I've graduated college a long time ago, but this is how vividly I remember. You walk into Dillard University, and straight ahead, all the buildings are white. Straight ahead is the white building. You've got these on the side, over here on the side, and you walk through the courtyard. Beautiful. So when I went to Dillard, I'm going in, traveling back and forth every day because I'm still at home. I'm seeing Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and this is not fake. People coming in, just simply beautiful, highly educated, smart, and I began to feel even less like I belonged. And so what do you do when you feel like you don't belong? We're talking about, when do you know how to start to do the work to save yourself? At that time, I wasn't into saving myself. I was into fitting in, because that's what you do when you're looking to be validated. That's what you do when you have things that you haven't dealt with. My dad had passed, and I remember going to my dad's funeral, and I didn't cry. I was like, okay, when we finished, in my head, because that's how I had not dealt with much of anything, right? So when I get to Dillard and I see all the beautiful people and I want to belong, what do you do? Well, me, started drinking a little bit, started drugging a little bit, and my drugging started with sneaking behind the building, smoking weed. And through the back, there was a cut in the back where you could come out of the back buildings and walk a couple of streets over and walk down. And that's where they used to sell the weed. So I connected with the beautiful people, of course, and began to fit in. Now, academically, that's what I was there for. That's what got me there, right? But I began to do those things that would make me a part of the crowd. Still not dealing with where I was. We would walk around the cut, go down, buy our weed, smoke weed, come back. What does that affect? Your grades. So, first semester, first year, I did okay. By the time first semester, first year, by the time that second semester came around, I was feeling the effects of trying to fit in, missing a little class, drinking a little bit. And now, mind you, I live in New Orleans. I lived in New Orleans, the Big Easy, the city that never sleeps. So we didn't have a shortage of where we're going to go on a Friday night. We didn't have a shortage of where we're going to go on a Monday night. Whatever you wanted, it was within a stone's throw. And so we did what college students do to a certain degree. We partied. But for me, it was more than just a party. It was fitting in. It was not dealing with stuff. It was not even knowing that I had work to do. But I knew what I wanted. And what I wanted was to be loved. What I wanted was to be accepted. What I wanted was to be heard and listened to, and not be described as fat black, not be thought of as the girl with the cute face. I wanted to fit in. And so that was my focus. So see how my focus shifted from academics to being with the beautiful people. And like anything else, you get a scholarship. You got to maintain your grades to keep the scholarship. So, literally, by my third year, I dropped out. Why did I drop out? Because I lost my scholarship. Why did I lose my scholarship? Because I was hanging out with the beautiful people. Why was I hanging out with the beautiful people? Because I wasn't dealing with my crap. That's why. Because I wasn't dealing with all of the anger. I wasn't dealing with the hurt. I wasn't dealing with the mismanaged relationships. I wasn't dealing with, by this time, my use of cocaine. Because you see, it started with weed going around the cut. But then it evolved. And I thought I was, better because crack was just coming out, right? I don't know, it was kind of making this thing, but we wasn't doing that. No, we wasn't doing that. We was just going to snort a little something. And a little something became a little something. And a little something more. And so living on my own at this point, living well, but not doing what I needed to do, I lost it. Y'all Google how much it costs to go to Dillon University. Google the significance that a college degree from Dillon University, one of the best HBCUs in the country, could have given me. Google 4 years down, I would have been done. Yet, I was not, because I didn't know that I needed to do the work to save myself. And I went full-fledged into wandering into places that I had no business being. That became the detriment of my college degree. So all of those years that I spent pouring into my academics, now was just like, okay, what do you do? And of course, I was smart now, very smart, always learned fast, had some leadership ability. My mentor told me when I was 16, and I probably should have listened because I was in high school. She was my first mentor, and I did well. And she said, as a leader, you can't be a fly on the wall. But more importantly, as a leader, no one's going to follow you because you're too angry. She said, no one's going to follow an angry leader. I didn't get it. But since I had school no more, I took my leadership and I went to work. Became a manager, at Sound Warehouse, which was the place to be on the music scene. Anything that was coming through the music scene was coming through Sound Warehouse. It was a record store, a record franchise rather, in New Orleans. And I worked and I worked and I became involved in that cocaine world. Y'all, deal with your stuff. We have so many different avenues, but those things that have been the detriment of some of us still exist. You have the opportunity to do counseling. You have the opportunity to go to therapy. You have the opportunity, I'm hoping that you have it. And if you don't, find it. If you don't have a person in your circle that you can talk to, a mom, a daughter, a sister, go and find someone who is in this area that you can talk to. Don't hold on to your stuff. Don't hold on to your stuff, because we never really hold on to it. Some kind of way it seeps out. And it's going to seep out in alcohol. It could seep out in drugs. It could seep out in bad relationships. It could seep out into, having children when you're not ready. It could seep out to job after job after job after job. And you're wondering, why can't I get stable? Because your stuff is leaking and you're not paying attention. You got to deal with it. I wasn't dealing with it. But I was cute. I wasn't doing crack, just doing cocaine. to the point of losing a job, just get another one, to the point of going back to school to try to fix it and not excelling, to the point of getting more friends, like the friends I didn't need in the first place, and continuously going into the wrong places. I didn't go as far as some of them went. Trust and believe. Some of the people that I was hanging out with, maybe some of the people that you're hanging out with, some of the people you know, they didn't make it. They didn't make it. They didn't make it, they became addicts. They didn't make it, they became alcoholic. Some of them, on the other hand, came straight out, just like I did, through time and effort. You don't have to go there. If you go there, you can come out. If you haven't gone there yet, you don't have to go. That was the whole purpose of starting my podcast, was to bring to your attention that the evolution is real, but it's work. It's work. You can get it long before you're 40, 50, but baby, you're going to have to work for it. If you think that you're going to deal with your stuff just by yourself, or just with a, you need help to do whatever you're trying to come out of. I didn't say it was addiction or whatever it is. Not being able to talk, not confronting your abuser, if that's whatever happened, that's what we need other people for. That's when I say you got to know when it's time for you to go to work to save yourself first. Then you can hold people accountable along the way. But you got to hold you accountable. I had to hold me accountable. So I'm working. I'm doing well. I'm flourishing out in New Orleans East. That's where the beautiful people stayed back then. Right? Still got it going on a little bit. But I'm using that Coke. Now, this is a 2 or 3 year span. I was working. And I used to get high. Like, not all the time. If you think about it, like a binge drinker, I was a binge higher. So I could function, go to work, and do that. But when I got high, I got high. One time I got high. And I had to go to work. Again, big easy. We can hang out all night. So we hanging out all night. We go do what we have to do. We come back. It's time to go to work. I can't do it. I don't have it in me. Because I'm just that high. Now, mind you, I'm a woman in New Orleans, riding around, buying cocaine so I could take back and snort, going into places I ain't got no business going, to get drugs, to come out living, because it was hidden in the suburbs still back then. We wasn't driving to live in Jacksonville, to one of the better parts of Jacksonville, or one of we wasn't going to that side of town, to that neighborhood to get it. No, we was going to the hood where everybody else was going. But I was going by myself. So thanks be to God, I'm alive. Don't get it twisted. I've been held up. Give me your money and give me the drugs I just gave you. It didn't have to happen to me but one time. But did it stop me? Nope. I just didn't go to that place anymore. Right? So I'm in this haze. I call off from work. And my supervisor, Liz, black woman, dynamic black woman. At the time, I didn't know what I knew to the extent that I know now and even before now. But Liz saved my life. She saved my life because I was getting to the point where I wasn't having control over the coke was having control over me. And I guarantee you, I would have gone somewhere I wouldn't have been able to come back from without a lot of help. Right? Called off. Liz fired me. She fired me first. Told her I wasn't coming to work. She said, point blank, I know what you're doing. I'm paraphrasing because it was many years ago. But she told me she knew that I was using drugs. She knew I was getting high. She saw the change in my behavior. She didn't want another black woman to go down a road where they couldn't come from. That she had seen it. She'd seen it in her sisters. She'd seen it in others before me. And she didn't want to do it. And she fired me. She said, one, I'm going to take this money right out of your hands. So you can't buy no drugs with this money. She said, but two, you gave me permission by your actions. She said, now, here's where you should go. She told me about a rehab place. She literally gave me a resource. I thanked her. I cried, y'all. When I tell you, I stood in that phone booth and I cried because I could not believe that I was in this place. My family had tried to, get me out. My sister, Paulette, she knew. She knew. And Paulette would tell me, Susan, Lynn, you got to get yourself together. And so I cried. That was when I knew that I had to go to work to save myself. Or I was going to drown. I was going to drown. In a city that never sleeps, where you could find what you want whenever, where the beautiful people were going about their way. Because you see, at the end of the day, the beautiful people that I do have money. They weren't like me. I needed to work. I had people I was hanging with who got high, who were told they didn't have to work. Like they were in school. They were literally forbidden from working. But they still had money. But not me. And at that phone booth, on that day, I knew if I did not get my shit together, it was going to be a whole nother conversation. And I thought about my daddy. I was judging my daddy. And I promised myself that I wasn't ever going to be in that situation, but here I was. So I got on my knees. And this is me. I'm a child of the King. I don't know about y'all. So I'm going to speak my truth. I got on my knees when I got home. And this was one of those, if you get me out, conversations with God. I won't go back. I don't know how it came about. I don't even remember. But there was an ad in the newspaper for Vision Quest, which was a youth treatment facility in Pennsylvania, up in the mountains of Pennsylvania. Vision Quest was based on the Indian culture. Danny Odell was the leader of the Indian culture piece of Vision Quest. I read up about it. I told my mom, I'm going to apply for this job. I remember going to a hotel room because they were traveling around and doing interviews. I went to a hotel room and did an interview. I told my mom when I left, if I get this job, I'm leaving. I was 26 years old. I got the job. I left. Between the time of getting the job and leaving, it was a couple of weeks. So Liz had spoken to me. She had told me where to go. I didn't go. I dabbed a little bit. But I knew if I did not do something to save myself, I was going down the wrong road. I got that job April the 16th. I called my mom from the mountains of Pennsylvania in a snowstorm, fully geared up. When I say they took care of us, they took care of us. It was my introduction to all things North Face, high end, because we was in the mountains. I called my mom from a phone booth in a snowstorm and told her that I was all right. And from that minute to this one, I've never touched cocaine. And I went to work. I made mistakes. The journey. I have triumph. I have failed miserably in the process. And I'm still working on me. But at some point, in order to get to the other side, you are going to have to figure out when are you going to start to put in the work to save yourself. Ain't nobody going to save you first. They'll participate in the process. Mama can't save you. Your boyfriend, your boo thing, he can't save you. Your sister, girlfriend, auntie, they can't save you because it requires you to do the work. And that's my challenge to you. If you're not in that place, fantastic. Then stick around and join the conversation so that you don't go there. But we all have something that we don't want to deal with because we think it doesn't matter. Every piece of you matters. All of it is part of the evolution and evolving into your best self. All of it. So let's embrace the journey. Let's have further conversation about what it means to get to the other side and what it means to do the work. Thank you for joining. We'll continue to share. Y'all have a great day. All across social media, please subscribe, Susan R. Appleton. Y'all be good.